Hey everyone, here's a 5-minute recap of last week's message. I hope you appreciate the fact that it's hard to cram 25 minutes of brilliance into just 5 minutes, but I'm going to give it my best shot. One of the things that happened with COVID, two things: fear, obviously, that we could talk about that all day, but also frustration. It was frustrating, and it still is frustrating, to find out what the facts are. So many lies, so many misconceptions, so many misrepresentations, I should say. Media is agenda driven. And journalism is largely dead, to be honest with you. And that was one of the things that was most frustrating, is just trying to find out what is truth. This isn't a new problem. Back in John 18, Pilate once asked Jesus without waiting for an answer, what is truth? We've been wrestling with what is truth for a long, long time. And in Judges 17 and 21, the scripture says, in those days there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. No king equals no law. No law equals you become the judge of right and wrong. When you become the judge of right and wrong, there is no truth, and chaos is the result. We redefine marriage. Next thing you know, gender doesn't matter, which means there's gender confusion. You take away the standard, you take away the foundation, and chaos results. Then we looked at Romans 1. Real quick, they exchanged the truth of God for a lie and worship and serve created things rather than the Creator. We talked a little bit about that. Then we explored 3 words: secularization, pluralization, and privatization. Secularization, after the misuse of the phrase separation of church and state, fueled the idea that religious ideas and institutions should have no voice in government. People like the idea of a secular society, secular government, but in terms of values and ethics, they never considered the results of secularization. Truth was now wide open to almost any view on any subject. The resulting moods of secularization ultimately led to a loss of shame. We even talked about that. I know shame seems like only a negative. Shame has a benefit to a society. A fear of shame encourages adherence to beneficial social norms and the ability to maintain social cohesion. We talked a little bit about that. Pluralization sounds like a practical, worthy idea, and in some ways it is. In pluralization, you have a competing number of worldviews that are available, and no one worldview is dominant. But smuggled in with pluralization is the belief of relativism, without restriction, exception, or qualification. The only thing we could be sure of was that all moral choices were relative, with no point of reference to right or wrong. This resulted in a loss of reason. It's not reasonable to think that 2 people with opposing viewpoints could both be right. Okay? The last one, privatization. If secularization and pluralization were going to rule, what does society do with a large number of people who were still spiritually minded? Being spiritually minded was okay as long as you kept your beliefs private. The hypocrisy was that secularization, which denies absolutes, was allowed into the public space, but anyone who believed in an ultimate reality with transcendent absolutes that needed to be followed was told to keep those beliefs private. That ultimately paved the way for a loss of meaning. The Catholic Church is vehemently opposed abortion, but we have Catholic politicians who every day go to Mass on Sunday, then on Monday they show up and vote for abortion things. And same is true for same-sex marriage and redefining marriage. So then we walk through this story. We don't have time. A story of Mr. Objective and Mr. Subjective, and I will put that up on Facebook. It's just a great way to kind of see how these things are played out, so it doesn't just feel like a philosophy class. And then we read this, 1 Corinthians 3. Do not deceive yourselves. If any one of you think they are wise by the standards of this age, you should become fools, so that you may become wise. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness in God's sight. As it is written, he catches the wise in their craftiness. And again, the Lord knows the thoughts of the wise are futile. I could wake up tomorrow morning and declare that I'm a woman, and society will applaud me for my courage. I might get promoted. I might get appointed to a high position. But if tomorrow morning I wake up and declare myself a Chinese man, I'm going to be declared racist. I'll be accused of cultural appropriation. When the fact is, I have more in common with the Chinese man than I do a woman. What are we supposed to do about all this? Two things, real quick, to the point. Recognize the power of a lie. Jesus said of Satan, there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language. He is a liar and the father of lies. And the secret is that Satan never stops lying. He never stops talking. We need to recognize the lie. Last week, our new president, endorsed a lie when he passed the executive order about gender. We don't have time to get into that. The last one is we need to fear God. We need to be able to fear God but not be afraid of him. Again, we talked a little bit about that. It's a nuance, but it's a big one. Fear God but not be afraid. So recognize the power of a lie because our culture is buying it every day by the millions. And the second thing, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. Thanks so much. Take care. God bless. Have a great day. Bye.